Before delving into the subject of this video, which will be tariffs, I simply want to mention that I will be participating in the 3, 6-month, and 1-year Treasury bill auctions next week, and as well as the 2 and 5-year Treasury note auctions. The subject of this video is how foreign countries, retaliated to Trump's tariffs that he actually implemented during his first term, and how the trade war that he started has had a long-term negative implication for U.S. agricultural exports. I have published several videos discussing Trump's tariff proposals. I will link one or two of the last ones in the more section below. I'm not going to be repeating or rehashing my factual criticisms of the president-elect's desire to start a trade war, similar to what Herbert Hoover and the Republicans in Congress did when they passed the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act in 1930. That played a major role in creating the Great Depression, its longevity and severity. Instead, I'm just going to focus on a topic that I discussed in my last post, which was published on December 19th. When Trump imposed tariffs during his first term on a few imports into the United States, nothing like the widespread tariffs increases that he says he will do after becoming president again. Other countries negatively impacted by the U.S. tariffs retaliated, of course, as they always have done and always will do in the future. It is very predictable, and Trump has to know that this will happen. I can almost hear the foreign governments officials talking among themselves and discussing how to retaliate to U.S. increases in tariffs on their exports to the United States in a manner that will hurt Trump supporters the most. So they did that in Trump's first term. They imposed tariffs on U.S. agricultural products, including soybeans, corn, and pork. And of course, the U.S. exports of all these products that were subject to the increase in foreign tariffs went way down, and it hurt the U.S. farmers. The farmers, who are by and large hardcore Trump supporters for the most part, as are 70 to 80% of rural voters, squealed, and that squealing was heard by the Republicans in Congress and Trump. They responded by showering $60 billion on the agricultural sector as compensation for the harm caused by the tariff war that Trump started. Trump did not put in a campaign ad in 2024 that the $60 billion was devoured about 92% of the tariff increases on China's export to the U.S. that Trump implemented. I'm citing sources for what I'm saying in the more section below. Trump did not mention in his campaign commercials, or anywhere else for that matter, that Brazil and the U.S. sold about the same amount of soybeans to China in 2016. Now, as Trump has proven to every foreign country beyond any doubt that the U.S. is not a reliable trading partner, China decided to start sourcing its soybean purchases from Brazil rather than the U.S. And even though the U.S. and Brazil exported about the same amount in 2016, Brazil now exports about 3 times as much as the U.S. to China. There is some justice in what is likely to happen. I am certainly a believer that people need to be responsible for their own actions and to suffer the consequences for what they have done. Rural areas will be disproportionately negatively impacted by Trump's tariff proposals and other budget cutting proposals that Trump and the shadow president Elon Musk will likely implement. Musk recently announced his support for the far right party in the upcoming German elections. Rural voters do not appreciate, in my opinion, just how much they receive from the federal government and federal programs per capita. I am not aware of any accurate information supplied by Trump relating to tariffs. While I am avoiding as much as possible any contact with Trump's constant stream of false and misleading statements, I do have to pay some attention to matters that directly impact my investment decisions, which is something that I can't control. Excuse me, I think I said I can't control. And the tariff issue is important because it will cause inflation to rise, which is important, particularly for my bond allocation, which is very substantial and the largest part of my portfolio. But also because it's going to create supply chain disruptions that will inevitably flow from disruptions in foreign trade and exports to the United States for components that are used by U.S. manufacturers in the manufacturing and production process. So that also will lead to more inflation. I have cited some references in the more section below